Title of today's blog: Our Borders for the Scarcity Minded and the Foolish. It isn't a wall to keep people out, it's a wall to keep people in. And it's not the physical one I'm referring to, it's the mental one. Yours truly. When it comes to intelligence, most Westerners consider the first world as far ahead of the rest of the world. But it would be a very foolish assumption. The IQ test was never a good gauge for much other than picking obedient civil servants. When it comes to quality of life, the Western world is headed into an abyss that many will probably never escape from. Lies, injustice, inequities, death, disease, and destruction they will never figure out the source of. On the other hand, the third world's quality of life, absent their modern cities, continues to be inexplicably resilient and incredibly high despite low GDP numbers. The Ivy Leaguers just have to scratch their heads. For many decades, people in the United States have been fed a hearty diet of propaganda on Mexico. There are supposed facts and statistics to back the disinformation program up. However, the reality is Mexico has been propping up the U.S. economy for a very long time. Cheap natural resources, low cost labor on both sides of the border, and even power to add to a long list of benefits the U.S. takes. The idea that people are flooding across the border uncontrolled is primarily a media event with some help from the U.S. government and a number of NGOs who have been aiding and in many cases recruiting immigrants and refugees from war-torn parts of the world, courtesy of U.S. foreign policy, to supplement the low-cost labor the multinationals take advantage of. If anything, Mexicans in the know are quietly heading in the other direction, south. The best slave is the one who thinks they are free. There are many Mexicans that have family and friends in the U.S. or have lived there themselves, and they are very glad to be on this side of the prison wall, the freedom side. To them, America may have more fiat money, but that money comes with a great deal of stress, hardship, stupidity, and difficulties they just don't have to deal with here. If the truth got out about the details of the actual differences, it wouldn't be Texas or Florida the debt slaves are moving to, it would be southern Mexico. But that's certainly the advantage of having a population of zombies addicted to a flat screen. They don't use their head, they wait to be agitated, then they go from there on emotion. No thinking required. Mexico doesn't just have a great deal of more freedom than the land of the fee and the home of the debt slave. They actually got a robust culture based on common sense. The differences are night and day once a person has woken up to the benefits of a largely matriarchal society. Again, outside of the propaganda, much of Mexico has a great deal more respect for women, children, and the elderly than can even be conceived of in the Western world. Family is still number one authority, far above fiat money and government, which is the undisclosed religion in the Western world. And beyond that, Mexico is a land of abundance, especially in the South. Food falls from the sky. I'm going to keep this relatively short. Let me attempt to summarize. The Western world has become the refugee state of a process where Western militarists create dangerous and destructive narratives that allow them to destroy cultures and communities. Those populations are forced to move. The Western countries incentivize them. They are enticed by fiat money and welfare, but eventually become the next crop of debt slaves and socialist voters. Meanwhile, places where cultures remain strong, families remain highly regarded, abundance remains apparent, and people remain respectful to each other, they become the freest places, the highest quality of living, and have an abundance of opportunity. For those with the courage and good sense, don't let borders, walls, or propaganda keep you from living the good life. Thanks so much. Enjoy your day. And if you're not having a good time where you're at, remember there's always Acapulco.